Hey there, folks, and welcome back to the I Am CDB project. I, of course, am your host, CDB. You are not, and I'm back again. And again, I don't know how long I have time to do these videos, but I'm going to do them when I can do them. I've been pretty busy recently, and if you haven't seen my last two videos, which I did, I believe, Friday, that explains a lot of why. But anyway, I'm going to make a video today and sort of do a head shave tutorial because I saw a question in one of the groups about folks asking questions or someone sort of needing to be shown the ropes. So I'm going to just let you know what I know. I've been doing it for a little over 2 years now, I want to say, somewhere thereabouts. And I've had really no problems whatsoever shaving my head. Maybe only ever nicked myself a couple of times, and when I did nick myself, those were with DE. So we're going to use a cart, which is the way I recommend you begin on your head. By the way, this one, which I showed you Friday, really great stuff, empty. I did replace it with a new version of Maca Root Body Shop, and this one says it has aloe and so forth, so maybe it's better, maybe it's not, I don't know. Today I'm going to use the Envy Shave 8-ball brush. I've been using primarily the RazoRock 400, but these are sort of my go-to brushes here, the Envy Shave 8-ball and the 400, but I've used the 400 more. So let's go ahead and wet my brush. I'll load it up here a little bit with some Maca Root, which you see here. It smells the same. There's a look at the cream. Really good stuff. I think I paid about $14-ish. So anyway, I'm going to assume you know some things about the traditional method of shaving, which is generally 3 passes or 2, but it's not do it all in 1 pass. I don't really recommend that. First thing I do is sort of, wet the dome here. You do certainly need the moisture there, so the cream will lather up for you. And I've loaded a little bit of cream on the tips of the brushes. It just happened to be on the inside of this cap, so I just sort of dabbed it in there a little bit. And assuming you have a brush, and if you don't have a brush, get one. I recommend that RazoRock 400 that I showed you. It's pretty affordable. Any $20 to $25 synthetic brush with a modern knot's probably pretty good. RazoRock sells them, Sterling sells them. There are a lot of them out there. Anyway, if you haven't seen videos on how to make lather and all that, again, go watch those. I'm assuming these are people who have shaved their face in a traditional method and are just looking to start shaving their head. And as you can see, the Body Shop Maca Root, no problems whatsoever generating a lather. Very, very easy. So I am using a Harry's razor. The blades for this are, I get them in sets of 8 for about $14 and something, or $15. So inexpensive relative to, say, like a Gillette Fusion or something. The way I start is I pull down my ear, and I usually start around my ear, like so. If you're going to cut yourself, a lot of times around your ear is easy place to do it, in my opinion. So I tend to go sort of around my ear to start and just get that area first on both sides. That works best for me, may not for you. You can start really anywhere you want, but I just like to start around the ear, so I'm not sort of using the blade around the ear without pulling my ear down, because you can nick your ear. I have done it. So just be cognizant of that. I like to go semi with the grain, and the reason I say that is because my hair grows in different directions on the head. A lot of this here really doesn't grow at all. There's a spot on the back, really doesn't grow at all, but it grows mostly on the sides and around the back, which is why I shaved it to begin with. I was heading down a path where, I was going to have nothing here and hair here like Mr. Burns off The Simpsons, something like that. So anyway, you take your cart and again, pull down that ear and just, make your strokes as if you normally would. Now, some people use a lot of short strokes like so and just keep going over the same area. I tend to make longer strokes and just sort of go around and I just sort of keep going around the same area. Now, the reason why I suggest carts is they tend to do a better job for me adhering to the contours of my head, whereas DEs or single edge, they don't make contact with the contours of your head a lot of times. So here you'll see it's just the middle of the blades making contact, whereas these tend to do a little better job. Some of them actually flex in the middle of the blade, like the Schick Extreme disposable. So if you put a little pressure, they actually bend in the center and hug the dome a little tighter. So they work really, really well for me. And you can get them in various amounts of blades. 1 blade, 2, 3, 4, whatever. I don't know what carts are up to in blades now. I think this one is 4 or 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5. I'm not sure. Let's say 5 just to be safe. But anyway, just gonna sort of methodically go over these areas. Put a little pressure there, and when you do your next series of passes, I'll actually feel around on the head. With the head shaving, I think feeling is actually superior to seeing. So I'm obviously seeing, you know, the soap coming off as I'm making my strokes, but in my passes to come, I'll actually feel with my arms, and I can feel where I've missed and where I've got, and that does a good job for me. So this is sort of with the grain, this sort of pass. The next one from where I go back to front is a more against the grain, although it's not true. It's not a true with or against the grain in either fashion, because it kind of grows in different directions. The grain runs all over the place. That happens a lot on the head, and also happens on my neck. It grows, you know, east to west or west to east on my neck, as opposed to, you know, straight up and down and so forth. And so anyway, one of the things you do, and I'm doing it here, is if you sort of follow your stroke with your hand, you can tell if you're getting it or not. And if you watch Uncle Dub, I think is his name, he's got some videos, you'll see him almost constantly doing this number. Although he shaves sort of different areas of his head at one time, I tend to do the whole thing. It's what works best for me. Some people will just say shave the back, then the front. It doesn't really matter. Just find something that works nicely. But as you can see, you know, no nicks or cuts. Now, if you have a bump or something like that, you're going to have to be careful around those things. You can nick those. So anyway, when you finish with your first pass, some people do a full rinse. I've stopped doing that. I don't really see the point in doing a full rinse, but I do reapply a little moisture. I used to do a full rinse. You know, not that much benefit for me, but you do want to try to remove any maybe debris you have or loose hair, things like that. Just apply a little water, and for me, I'm just moving on to the next pass. And again, if you need tutorials on making lather or how to use a brush, I mean, those are all out there. I think I have some beginner videos or some playlists even on my channel, the imcdb.com, that you can look at for that purpose. But anyway, just press on with making sure you get a good lather on the dome. And this time we will go, again, I'm gonna always get around my ears first. That's just the way I do it. You don't have to. One of the things that I would mention is, and this, people who are enthusiasts of wet shaving are very happy to tell you, this is the way you do it. And I'm here to tell you, there's really no singular way to do anything that works for everybody across the board. There is zero technique that works across the board for everyone. That's what I've learned over the years. You really have to find what works best for you, and learning what works best for you is probably the most valuable thing. More valuable than listen to blowhards like me or bloggers, or, you know, experiment and learn for yourself. Now, there's a good deal of information that you can learn from other people to get started. I think super helpful. But so now, of course, I'm coming from the rear to the front using some pressure. You don't have to, you know, use a ton, but you do need to use some pressure. And if you come behind it and just sort of feel where you've been, you can feel if you've got, you know, hair that... Now, interesting thing about my head is the hair on the sides here actually grows, this is against the grain, so it's growing down this way. In other areas, it's going in different directions. So I sort of have to make that sort of motion to get it in those spaces. But anyway, going back to front, we'll continue to do that. And I'll follow it with my non-dominant hand and just sort of feel where I've been to see if I'm getting it. Rinsing your razor, of course, every once in a while. This is really important if you're using a cart and you're doing head shaving, because carts can get clogged. So you really want to either run the water over it, make sure it's clean and it's not clogged, or swash it around in the water, which is what I do a lot of times because I don't like to just run water needlessly. But make sure it's not clogged. That certainly is key. You can, of course, use a DE or straight for this. There are many people who use both and do it very effectively. Uncle Dub being one, Jason Rubman, lots of other people. Ronnie Greer used to even do it with shavettes and straight razors. Much more difficult. Again, because of that really fixed, rigid blade and the contours of your head. It takes a skilled individual to shave their head with a straight. I've shaved my face with a straight before. I've never attempted to shave my head. It is much curvier and much harder, obviously. There's bone directly under it, whereas your cheeks and things, there's some fleshiness. There's a little room there. Whereas, if you press a little too hard on the dome, you are cut. And that cut will bleed for a while if you're using a straight or a DE. As I was saying before, most of the times when I've cut myself, it's been with a DE. Because it's just everything's a lot more rigid on the DE or SE platform. Double edge or single edge razors, of course, if you're new. But anyway, what I'm doing now here is just sort of feeling, for any remaining stubble. And I'll do a third pass. You don't have to do a third pass if you don't need it. But what I'll find is usually there's remaining hair here that I need to get. And maybe a few little spaces, tough to get areas on the back of my head. Those areas are really difficult to get with a DE. In fact, I have to spend a lot more time to get at them because they're either in crevices or in curves. And it's just really difficult, which is why personally, I recommend, at least at a start, roll with a DE to begin with. Okay, let's rinse a little bit and then go for our third pass. And then we'll follow this one with a face shave, and we will announce some of the giveaways from a long time ago, that timeless stuff I meant to announce a winner for. I did draw today. Sorry I didn't get to it sooner, but I'll announce that in the face shaving video. So stay tuned for that. And if you haven't watched this video, well, then you won't know, will you? Well, maybe you'll see the face shaving video, and we'll see it that way. But anyway, we'll announce the winners of that one, and we'll kick off a new one soon. Okay, so now I'm just going to sort of touch up a little bit and really just feel around. Like right here, got to go against the grain. Really have to go in this direction, complete different direction. Again, I realize that in retrospect, this really hasn't been much of a tutorial, but basically me just making commentary or providing commentary as I'm going. It's just really shaving when it comes down to it. The big difference is the skin on your head is obviously, close to your cranium. And it's easy to cut yourself if you're not careful or if you have imperfections. Whereas I think the face is much more forgiving. You can really cut yourself on your head easy, but I'm not being particularly careful with a cart. So I don't have a lot of problems. Again, if you get lazy when you're swinging this cart around, you're not paying attention. I mean, you can hit your head or something and cut yourself. But by and large, these are a little more forgiving in terms of cuts, even on the dome. Let's see if I missed anything here. Let's just go from front to back again, just cleaning up, make sure we got that baby butt smooth. Now, I will say, normally during the work week, a lot of times, I'll just make one pass front to back. I'm just looking to get it closed. I'm not necessarily needing it to be baby butt smooth. I did for a long time. It takes a little bit longer. And so now, I'm just getting it sort of front to back, taking maybe 5 minutes. I mean, it doesn't take a long time. Just trying to get a nice close shave. On the weekends and so forth, I'll really take more time and and really try to get baby butt smooth and so forth. Just for enjoy. Really, to tell you the truth, I just like, after I've had a really nice head shave, you rub that head and it feels great. The guys who have shaved their heads know what I'm talking about. It just feels really nice, really soft, really smooth. You know, no stubble. It just feels good. And those of you who know, know. And those of you who don't. Maybe if you're planning to shave your head, you will soon find out if you get a nice baby butt smooth shave. This side, by the way, is more difficult than this side for whatever the reason. Anyway, my tips: use a good soap. This Body Shop Maca Root is outstanding. Watch my video the other day when I'm talking about what I'm using. This stuff is outstanding. In fact, I traveled this weekend. I used the True Fit and Heal West Indian Limes. This is probably about close to 30, if not a little over. This is just as good, if not better. All right, just as good, if not better than this. You know, I've used this a lot over the years, as you can see there. This doesn't do anything that this doesn't do. It smells a little nicer. It's West Indian Limes, but apart from that, it's got nothing on Maca Root, in my opinion. So take it for what you will. I know a lot of people will probably complain, but I don't care, because it's what I truly believe, and I'm just passing it on to you. Look, try to save you some money. As I mentioned in my video the other day, take it from me, somebody who spent a lot of time and money really needlessly. And so you can learn from my mistakes. Okay. So what I'll do now, the post, I'm not going to go through it in the interest of this is already a 17-minute video, which is too long, really. I'll rinse the head. I'll use some Thayer's with cucumber, which is my personal favorite. Been through lots of this over the years. It's great stuff. Then I'll put on some aftershave, and really that is it. It's not rocket science, but I do feel like you can cut yourself easier. Start with a good cart. Harry's is a good recommendation. You can go with the Defender. You can go with really anything you want, but start, maybe make a pass, see how you are. Over time, you'll develop, obviously, some content. You'll develop some, I don't even know the word, but anyway, you'll have dexterity as it relates to, you know, making these weird motions, shaving your head. You'll be able to do it well, and it'll just sort of become natural over time, and it'll be just like your face. So I'll leave it with that in the interest of saving time. Until next time, I've been your host, CDB. You're not. God bless.